Hello, and welcome to Unit 15, Lesson 3, Transitions. My name is Dina, and here I will be teaching you how to use transitions. These go between cuts and different clips and help make the change between them smoother or more interesting. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Of course, transitions are up here under this tab in the Explorer window. But before we get into that at all, I'd like to tell you about the most useful and most common transition you will use, the crossfade. Crossfading basically adjusts the opacity of your two clips. One slowly fades out, becoming transparent, while the other slowly fades in to 100% at the same rate. You could make this effect yourself with the opacity tool and animation, but fades and crossfades are used so often that Vegas has them built in to save you time. To fade the beginning or end of any clip, just move your cursor here to the top left or right corner of the media. When your cursor turns into this fan shape with the two arrows pointing out, you can drag it accordingly. It will create the fade for however long you want, and you can see it because of this sloped line and the grayed out area. That's to fade an individual clip. However, and this is my favorite Vegas feature of all time, if you want to crossfade two clips on the same track, all you have to do is drag the clip over it so they overlap, and Vegas automatically creates a crossfade. You can adjust the timing however you want as well. For most transitions, I would keep it within a second. I have found half a second to be the best for regular instructional videos. Anything longer than 1 second, I think would be more of a stylistic effect for storytelling and fiction. Here's an example of a 5-second crossfade. Looks kinda cool, but not very effective if you need to convey something quickly and clearly. So now, if crossfades are too boring and basic for your project, let's look at all the built-in transitions that Vegas has to offer. Let's start by looking at all the tabs under transitions. All lists out every single transition in alphabetical order, but because of the sheer amount of options, the other categories are very handy. Next, we have 3D effects. This does not necessarily mean that the transitions are actually in 3D, but rather, it will look like the screen itself is flipping, like this. These transitions give the illusion that the screen is moving in 3D. After that, we have reveals. These transitions, based on their specific features, use different shapes and movements to reveal your second clip. As you can see under barn doors, it reveals the next clip with an effect that looks like elevator doors closing. Notice how even within one type of transition, you have many more detailed options to choose from to fit your video. Things like directions, borders, colors, and so forth. Thirdly, let's move on to the tab labeled wipes. These types of transitions kind of work like windshield wipers and will appear as if the current clip is getting wiped off of the screen, showing the next clip underneath. After that one, we have fades. This folder contains many options for fading transitions, including the crossfade we mentioned at the beginning. There are lots of fade options here too, and they all stem from the same idea of the first clip fading into nothing, while the second clip fades in. It is also commonly known as a dissolve. Lastly, we have loops and peels. These transitions look like book pages, peeling, rolling, or flipping to the next. Then, of course, third party and favorites, like all the other windows we have talked about before. To add a transition, you need 2 clips. You can drag your chosen transition to the cut in between 2 clips, and it will create a 1-second transition automatically. Like the generated media we have talked about, it will open up the settings window first. This is different for each transition, so I won't go over them one by one. We'll close that for now. And you can see the 1-second transition is created. Another way, if you want a precise transition, is to create that crossfade transition first by dragging and overlapping the clips to the exact location and length you want. Then, drag your transition onto that crossfade. Either way is fine, and of course, you can fine-tune your transition after you add it too, from the settings menu, or by dragging the length with that same fan-shaped cursor. Now, even though there are all these transition options inside of Vegas, when was the last time you remember seeing one used, especially in movies and on TV? The more dynamic the transitions are, and the more colorful they are, the more distracting they are. Because of this, overusing transitions can come off as amateurish. There is no strict rule to any of it, but personally, I think the key is limiting the different types of transitions you use. It feels very different when you use one transition 5 times versus 5 different transitions each time. Keeping the transition consistent, or keeping the type consistent, such as using only wipes, will help the whole project feel more cohesive and less messy. To use the Marketing Lab promo as an example, let's look closer at this part here, where we introduce the different functions of the lab with B-roll examples of previous lab projects. Here, there are 3 distinct uses: recording professors' classes, student projects, and marketing experiments. I used a page peel for the beginning of each use and kept it simple with straight cuts and no transitions in between, so it wouldn't get too chaotic. Here, let's try changing them by adding transitions in between all of the examples and switching up the types too. Let's use a 3D one here, then a reveal, and a wipe, then a fade. And play that. See how much messier it looks? Not saying that you can't do this, but keeping your transitions simpler and consistent will look much more clean and professional. So, that is it for transitions. Transitions between clips can help your project look smoother and clearer, or help a long, boring lesson become much more animated and dynamic. The various transitions Vegas has built in can help you connect 2 separate clips. But what about transitions using multiple clips? Or creating simple effects yourself instead of scrolling and searching for the exact transition you had in mind? We'll learn more about how to use tracks and track features to create some of these same effects next. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!